Hey guys, this is October the 5th, 2025, and I'm in my woods. I was hoping I could hear some birds singing, but so far, nothing. It's kind of dreary out here. There's no sun shining. It's kind of, it's cloudy and kind of dreary. But I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is important, and that's about protecting your head, okay? Um, I know I've talked about this before, but I think the need to protect the head is is growing. I think it's becoming even more necessary that we protect our heads. I mean, we need to protect our whole body, but I think they're zeroing in on our heads. Now, the reason I'm saying this is that I was one of the ladies that I helped. She was talking to me about all the people in her church and that live around her that were having strokes and heart attacks and things. And there were a lot of heart attacks, but it was mainly strokes. People were just being stricken down with strokes, just like right out of the blue. And she was telling me about her pastor's wife who had had a stroke. Her husband woke up one morning and was wondering why his wife was still in the bed, was still asleep, because she always gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and makes biscuits and fixes breakfast and stuff. And he was trying to wake her up and she wouldn't wake up. So she wasn't dead, but she was like unconscious. And so they rushed her to the hospital and they said that she had had a stroke and uh, some kind of bleeding on the brain or something. I don't know. And then that was one recent one. And then there was another incident where an elderly man fell off of his lawnmower, cutting his grass, and fell off of his lawnmower with a stroke. Okay, when they found him, when his family found him, he was uh, just like in a daze. They said he was just like staring up into the sky, not acting like he didn't know where he was or who he was. And they said he had had a massive stroke. And then I heard last night at the auction, someone told me that a friend of mine's son had been rushed to the hospital with a stroke. And they said that the left side of his body was paralyzed and that he was having trouble speaking. He was talking, but they couldn't make out what he was saying. And then there was another neighbor next to me who said that her mother had recently had a stroke. Okay. Um, Now I know this happens all the time, but I don't normally hear about it in like I don't normally hear this many cases at one time. So what it what it seems like is it's like they're zeroing in that the energy weapons is like they're zeroing in on people's heads. Now they've always been zeroing in on your head, but it seems like it's more now than usual. So they're trying to take out as many people as they can, like really fast, and then because some of these people are not going to make it. They're gonna the ones that are in the hospital. Some of them won't make it home. There's always some that don't make it home, and then the ones that do usually end up in a nursing home or they end up bedridden. Okay, so but the point is that if you don't protect your head, Okay, you got to protect the whole body. But if you don't protect your head, then you're not going to stand a chance with these energy weapons, because depending on which part of the brain they hit, like if they hit your frontal lobe, uh, you're probably gonna have all kind of problems with cognitive dysfunction and uh, um, speech, and they give you, if they hit you in the frontal lobe and you have a stroke, um, it's going to be it's going to be bad. Okay, if they hit you temporal, depending on where they hit you, is going to determine what your symptoms are. They can hit your frontal lobe, they can hit your temporal lobes, they can hit your parietal lobe, which is at the top of your head. Then at the back of your head is the occipital lobe. If they hit the occipital lobe, you're going to have vision problems. You might start having blurry vision, or you might just lose your sight uh, temporarily or altogether. Um, you might have bleeding behind the eyes, and then there's the cerebrum. If they hit the cerebrum or the brainstem, the cerebrum and the brainstem, then everything, anything and everything can happen. Okay, so it's important that you know the different parts of the brain that these weapons can hit, because they know precisely what they are doing. Okay, and they know what they're going to cause to happen. They know that if they hit your brainstem, that they can cut off your breathing. I mean, they can cut off the nervous system. They can shut down everything with these weapons. So people, I think a lot of people are just not aware what's happening, what's going on with these weapons. Okay. Now, I want to tell you a little bit, and I know I've talked about this before, but it needs to be stressed again about how to protect your head. Now, I heard a talking individual, or he posted a comment on YouTube somewhere, and I don't remember where it was, but he said that the only way to protect your head from these frequencies was to saturate your head with mayonnaise. Mayonnaise. Now, I never heard that before. I never heard anybody using mayonnaise, but it probably will work because mayonnaise has got all that oil in it. You know, all the oil. But you can do the same thing with castor oil. Now, I know this because I've done it. I have not tried the mayonnaise, and I might in the future if I need to. But that stuck in my head when he said that, which tells me that him being a target individual, he knows because he's already done it. Okay. But for me, I'd rather use the castor oil than to go around smelling like mayonnaise. But with the castor oil, you will have an oily head. Okay. And I have put it on and wore it for days before I washed it out, just because I had to, because the frequencies were that bad. Okay. And now, to tell how, if you want to know if you're being hit in the head with the frequencies, and if you want to know how bad it is, get you a sheet of aluminum foil and put it inside of a cap and wear it over your head at night. And then, depending on how thick the foil is, it may take it. If it's a thick sheet, it might take a couple of days before it shows up, or it might happen overnight. But I know if I put 3 sheets of that thin aluminum foil up in my side of my bubble hat, I won't see anything. Then, well, one night, uh, uh, one night I may not see anything the next morning, and then the next night when I wear it, I might see that next morning. I might see the little pin. It'll have little, when you hold it up to the light, when you hold the foil up to the light, you'll see all these little pinholes in it. Okay, tiny little pinholes. That's how you know that the frequencies are hitting your head at night while you're sleeping. Because a lot of people claim this ain't true, this ain't happening. But a surefire way to know is to try the aluminum foil. Okay, I got a sheet right now that I just took out of my hat this morning that's full of pinholes, and I had like 2 layers under that, so they can get through pretty much anything. But tonight I've decided, since I've been hearing about all these strokes people having, tonight I've decided I'm gonna try something different inside my cap tonight. I think I'm gonna get my castor oil pack that I use. I usually use it on my chest, like when I get bronchitis or pneumonia. I'll soak a piece of flannel, take a piece of flannel, saturate it in castor oil, and I usually just put it over my chest, and because it helps with congestion, helps clear up congestion and coughing and all that with bronchitis. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that castor oil pack or that piece of flannel and put some more castor oil on it and put it up inside my hat tonight, up against a layer of that aluminum foil, and then put a couple of more sheets in front of it so that castor oil won't be like, you know, soaking up in my hair. And then try wearing that tonight and see if that helps, because I know the castor oil, I know when I put that on during the day, I know it blocks the frequencies because I could tell. Because like when I was feeling the frequencies hitting my head, and then um, I sucked my head in the castor oil, it would stop. And also when I was having the noises in my head, uh, it stopped when I put the castor oil on my head. And the earplugs soaked in castor oil inside my ears, it stopped. So I'm going to try that tonight because uh, they are ramping up the attacks against the head. And if you don't want to have a stroke, if you don't want to end up with a stroke or seizures or brain aneurysms or bleeding from the brain or blood clots in the brain, if you don't want to have any of that, then you might want to consider taking some kind of steps, extra steps to protect your head, folks. Okay, because these attacks are picking up. These people, this guy, this friend of mine, her son, he's only like 30. He's in his 30s. He's like 35 years old. He's not a. It's not like he's an old man or anything. He's a young guy, and he's had a stroke. Okay, and right now he's not able to walk or speak. So this is serious, folks. This is serious. And a lot of these people, they don't know what's going on. They really don't know. A lot of them have had the COVID vaccines. Now, the weapons themselves the weapons on their own can do this, can cause you to have a stroke, can cause you to have a heart attack or anything else. But if you've got your body full of the nanotechnology, this just gives the frequencies something to feed on, because the frequencies are attracted, are active, are the nanotechnology is activated by the frequencies, okay, and the radiation from them. So, um, if you've had the COVID vaccine and your body's full of the nanotechnology, then it's going to be a whole lot easier for them to cause you to have a stroke or a heart attack or anything if your body's full of this nanotechnology, and you've got to clean it out. I ain't going to go deep into that because you already know that. I already talked about that. And I've been talking about this for years now, and a lot of people, I've lost a lot of friends because of this. Because I had one good friend back during the COVID, when there was a separation, between the people. There was separation between the vaccinated and unvaccinated, and how they were down on people who didn't get vaccinated and how they were spreading the virus and all that. Okay, I was one of those who refused the vaccination. I already knew I wasn't going to take it. okay? But then I had a good friend who did take it, okay? And I begged her before I said, please don't take the vaccine. You don't know what you're doing. You have no idea. And she said, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, you know, or if you're not going to take it, or what are you going to do? Just, what are you going to do? Just like spread it around, you know, and give it to other people and all that, you know. And anyway, she cut me off as a friend because I wouldn't take the vaccine. Well, she took the first one, she took the first round of vaccines, and within 2 weeks, she was having blood clots in her legs, and she was having chest pains, heart palpitations and chest pains. Now, she didn't tell me this. I found out it through the grapevine. I found out from another friend that this had happened to her, and that she was bedridden. Okay, and her daughter was having to come over and take care of her and everything. Um, now, did I run over there and sit and check on her and tell her? I said, I told you, no, 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 no. I didn't do anything because I knew she didn't want me over there for one thing. She didn't want to talk to me. But the point is I'm making is I tried to warn her not to take this vaccine. Okay, and now most people who've had it and they get sick, they say, well, it wasn't the vaccine. It wasn't. Okay, okay, well that's fine. You know, maybe it wasn't. And then I had another friend that I went to school with and had known for 30 years, and he told me that he had to have. This was back in 2020. I got to take the vaccine to keep my job. I said, no, you don't have to take the vaccine to keep your job. You don't. You can get another job. Don't take the vaccine. Please don't take it. It's full of nanotechnology. Don't take it. Took it anyway. And I can remember because he called me the night before he was supposed to go take it, and he told me he was supposed to have that shot tomorrow. And I said, okay, I warned you. I said, I warned you. He said, I know it. Okay, so he took the first shot, and it was, I don't think it was even a week. It was probably a couple of days. He called me and he said that he was having chest pains and that his legs felt like they had bricks in them. And he wanted to know if I would help him to detox his body. I said, sure, sure. The fact that he called me and asked me for help, you know, that told me that he realized what he had done. That he realized that he had made a huge mistake. And now when you talk to him, he's like, you know, when he talks about people that's falling sick, he said, it's that shot. It's that shot. And I said, yeah, that shot. You know, and and I didn't rub it in or anything, but that shot that he said he had to have to keep his job. And by the way, he lost his job because he was too sick to go into work. So you see how it works? I mean, and then uh, there was another person that I knew that I talked to about the vaccine that I was trying to convince not to get it, and she got it anyway. And she now has, I think her daughter said she had a stroke, but she had blood clots in her lungs. She was having, they found 2 or 3 blood clots in her lungs, and she's now on oxygen. She has to have oxygen inside her home 24/7. She can't go to town without her oxygen. She has to walk with a walker. And this is not an old person. This is a person in her early 60s. And she has to walk with a walker. And she cannot get up and leave the house and drive her car to McDonald's anymore and get like she used to do every Friday, you know, and visit with her friends, visit with us at McDonald's. She can't do that anymore because she took the COVID vaccine and blood clots sit up in her lungs. So now there might be some of you out there who took the vaccine and think this is a bunch of BS, and that's okay, I understand, but it's important that you know that if you did take the vaccine, you can remove it. You can detox, and you can remove the nanotechnology from your body, okay? But uh, this person I was telling you about that called me, he said, what do I need to do? How do I detox? How do I get this stuff out of my body? What do I need to do right now? I said, right now, you need to start taking Epsom salt tub soakings and stay in there as long as you can and do them as often as you can. You need to take the bentonite clay and the potassium iodide to start detoxing internally. And then you need to start using an organic shampoo to remove the nanotechnology from the head. And you need to also do the Epsom salt baths for the head. Um, and just right away, that's right off the bat. That's three things you need to start doing right now if you want to detox. And he did. He started doing them. And uh, as far as I know, he's okay. I haven't talked to him lately, but he might be. I think I'm assuming he's getting better. But you see, but you can see how these people who at one time believed that this was all hogwash, it's all conspiracy theory, that the government wouldn't do anything to hurt us, the government wouldn't put nanotechnology in our vaccines, and the government's not causing us to have COVID. No, the government won't do anything to hurt us. But now some of these people, they're waking up. They're starting to wake up and realize that they were wrong. And they're realizing that they were wrong and that they've made some huge mistakes. And now they're trying to fix them. So hopefully these people will survive. A lot of them don't. They end up stricken to their beds and their recliners, and they lay there in the bed all day, and the energy weapons are hitting them. They sit in their recliners all day long, and their energy weapons are hitting them, and they just grow worse and worse and worse and worse, and they start having all these new symptoms, and they don't know why. And most of them end up dying. So protect your heads, folks. Protect your bodies. Protect your heads. Take the necessary steps to take extra protection, to make extra protection for your head, especially at night when you're sleeping. Now, they can hit you during the daytime, but at nighttime is when you're still and you're out of it, and they can hold the weapons on you longer. Okay? This is why we see a lot of people waking up or not waking up with strokes. Some are waking up with strokes and heart attacks, some are not. So, it's a heads up, folks. That's all I want to talk about. I love you guys. Stay safe, protect yourself, and stay heart-centered and connected with God within you. I love you.